Live from the city of Los Angeles. It is December 5th. And I appreciate you guys. Before we even get to anything, I just want to start there, man. I want to start with thanks, man. So thank you guys, man. Shout out to my audience who've been tapping in with me for a long time, man. Could not do it without you guys. So kudos to you, first of all. And yeah, man. I'm your host, Dwayne Cofield. This is the weekly tap in, and I'm tapping in, man. What's good? Hopefully everything is gravy with you guys, man. It's the holidays, man. We're getting around that time, which is a good time, man. It used to be hard for me, man. It used to be really tough. Holidays, ooh, because my family is like a little bit different, so they cool. But there's always two sides, and you got to kind of, what I mean. But we've gotten better over the years. That's what I must say. At least I've gotten better. So I have a much better time during the holidays now. My kids really enjoy it. My wife is amazing. She does an amazing job with my kids and how they enjoy it. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, certain holidays bring out certain emotions, and we got to learn how to deal with those emotions, um, you know, logically, right? Because sometimes things can get out of hand. What's going on, man? Appreciate you. Man, I appreciate you, homie. But yeah, this episode is a good one, man. This is called, well, first of all, what are we in? Season 5, episode number 17. This one is called Yours and Their First. And the reason why it's titled that is because what we're gonna analyze is what people, their initial start. You know what I'm saying? And what that actually looked like. And what your initial start looked like or will look like. And how that moment when you discover that, whatever your start is a really pivotal moment in your life. And sometimes it could be that moment that may break you, where you know what, I quit. And a lot of people have quit on their first. Several people. Why? Because it didn't look like what it was going to look like. And I'm not just talking about businesses or products or whatever the case may be. I'm talking about relationships. Now, sometimes it was in your best interest to quit, but there's dreams and goals that you shouldn't necessarily be quitting on. You know what I'm saying? And if people would have quit at the first sign of resistance, a lot of businesses, man, I appreciate it, dog. A lot of businesses, wouldn't be what they were at the first sign of any type of resistance. And most people quit on the first time. Anytime something doesn't go perfect, doesn't go according to plan, that's not smooth, that's not what we anticipated, the first thing we're ready to do is quit. Why? Because it's an option. That's it. Because it's an option. So we'll sit up there and be like, oh man, I got this great idea, open up this business or whatever the case may be. And things don't go smooth. I don't have the money. I don't have the and I just posted this video, and you guys can check it out. It's on the Drug Dealers to Businessmen page, where you should be looking at this live. And if you ain't looking at this live, go ahead and like that page. But I posted a video of Busta Rhymes doing an interview. And in that interview, he talks about the almost maniacal mind that you have to have in order to pursue your dream or pursue your destiny, right? And how, you're gonna, you got to be undeniable, you know what I'm saying, in your pursuit. And he said you have to be somewhat selfish. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, damn, I said, I guess that's right. He and you guys can finish the rest of the interview because he says some other really, really important gems and jewels about pursuing your dream. And what made me really get on this subject was I was listening to music. And I was listening to Andre 3000. I was listening to the flute thing. He said that on that album that you listening to him discover the music, right? Discover how to play these instruments, right? And he was like, it was almost like, him, you watching a baby kind of learn how to walk. And I was like, that's pretty interesting. And what he's basically saying is like you're witnessing my first. And with Outkast, what we didn't see their first. You know, a lot of times we see their studio produced first. That's usually a lot of production involved and things like that. But you didn't get the opportunity to listen to their first raw record. And a lot of times that's on purpose because if you would have heard their first record, you probably wouldn't have been a fan, you know. And the thing about it is that's just a reality. I listened to Nipsey Hussle and I was like, okay, Nip is dope. I said, he's dope now. I said, let me dig into the crates and let me listen to his first records. And no disrespect to any Kendrick, Nipsey, their first records were trash. Like these dudes didn't, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, watching somebody try to figure it out is sometimes it's misleading, right? You thinking that a person isn't going to be what they're going to be. Relationships the same way. We give up on people because of their current state. This is what they are right now. So this is what ultimately they're going to be for the rest of their lives. And we make these judgments based on a current condition. And the thing about it is, think about when a baby first walks, it's not pretty. They're falling, they bow-legged, you know what I mean? They're walking like they're drunk. And that's because they're trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part of success that I don't think people are willing to commit to. No one wants to commit to something where you're looking like you're a novice or you're looking like you're inexperienced. Everybody wants to come in looking like a boss, right? Everybody wants to come in already baked. I posed this question to my students. I said, if I gave you $3 million, would you create a brand or would you buy into a franchise? Everybody's, I'll buy into a franchise. I'll buy into a franchise. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, most of the people don't. I said, well, why? And they were like, because it's easy. And I'm like, but entrepreneurs, don't we like to create? I said, you know, our hands are kind of tied when we buy into franchises. I said, if we're a true entrepreneur, we're trying to create something. We want other people to wear our brand, right? We don't want them. And they were just like, oh, yeah, I guess you got a point, Professor, da, 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 da. But it was amazing to me just to see how many people are willing or would be willing to forego the necessary work, right? A part of entrepreneurship. What's going on, Anthony? I appreciate that, homie. The necessary work that it requires to be successful. And it's going to require a lot. You're going to be broke. You're going to be heartbroken. You're going to be upset. It's going to be ugly. Your first edition is not going to. I remember, and now I have these stories to tell, which is so important about my journey and sharing my journey is that I have these stories to tell now. The stories of, I remember when our first flyer was horrible. I designed it. I mean, when you say bad, I mean bad. Our bags, right? We didn't take our manufacturer's labels off, and we were making so many mistakes, right? So many mistakes, marketing mistakes, branding mistakes. It was unbelievable how many mistakes we were making. The point was, though, is that you have to make them, right? I used to tell cats all the time, I'm like, man, I said, you want to buy a lowrider already fixed up, or do you want to do it yourself? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, you know, you're not going to do it right the first time. I was explaining that to another one of my students. I said, you know, this project that I have you guys working on is designed for you guys to make mistakes. It's designed for you. I purposely don't tell you everything because mistakes are part of the process. The same way God doesn't tell us everything. Right? That's not a good teacher, is to give you everything. I want you to actually start to think. You feel me? I want you to start to think. I want you to start to understand how to come out of it. Right. I used to tell my son all the time, when you're playing Madden, I'm like, if you're getting whooped, don't quit. That's the worst thing you can do in Madden, is cut it off. The computer knows that. And a lot of times when you're playing against a computer and you're getting your tail whooped, they like, okay, is he gonna quit the game? And ultimately, EA Sports and all them want you to play the game longer. So don't quit. You know what I'm saying? For real, you can't quit because you can come back. There's you don't know when it's gonna pop for you, man. Watching the Tyler Perry documentary. If you guys haven't seen that, I think it's on. I want to say Hulu or Amazon. I think Amazon, but like Tyler Perry, you don't have to agree with his content, but his story is fascinating. His just determination and sheer will of not quitting. He said he was doing a show for 7 years and almost quit. Got to the point to where it was just he wasn't making, you know what I mean? People start questioning you. Are you really him? And I've had that. Like, hey D, you sure you still doing that? Man, you know what? And you see other people tapping out, going to go work or whatever the case may be, which I encourage. Get paid, ain't nothing like paid training. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you see people tapping out. So you're like, damn, man, this is my your first is gonna be hard and ugly. Period. I can't say it. No, and if you happen to be successful your first time coming out the gate, that you a lucky bastard. I'm gonna just be, you know what I mean? Not in a figurative sense, not in the literally sense, but in figuratively. You know what I mean? Because most of the time we come out together. I looked up Michael Jordan when I was doing research on this topic. And I was like, Michael Jordan, he came out the gate. If you were to look at his first NBA game, he scored 16 points. He dominated. But that wasn't his first. His first was in junior, what was it, high school, trying to make the freshman team, and they cut that ass. That was his first. And it was sucked. And when you lose your first time, you know what I'm saying? It sucks, but you learn so much. And that's the key about wins and losses. It's not about wins and losses. It's about learning. What did I learn in this process? My son and them just lost they play in the Snoop League. They just lost in the Snooper Bowl or whatever it's called, Snoop League Super Bowl. They went undefeated. They decided to lose then, right? And they lost to the team that they beat earlier in the season. And that was their first loss, but it's at a time where it mattered the most, right? So the thing about it is they could quit or they could use it as a learning lesson to say, we'll be back next year. We almost got undefeated. We almost was there. We're going to do it again undefeated, and we should get the crown at this time. So you can't take it personal when the universe is testing your gangster for your first run. When you do your first run, the universe is going to test your gangster to make sure that you are who you say you are. You're doing what you're saying you're going to do. Everybody's first isn't great. So don't feel like you got to create a masterpiece the first time or be perfect. Get it out the gate, right? It's what Seth Godin calls poke the box or ship. He talks about shipping, right? And a lot of times we're scared to ship because we want things to be absolutely perfect. I can't make a move unless the situation is perfect. I can't make a move unless I got this and this and that. I can't make a move unless and less and less. And I'm gonna tell you right now, ain't never gonna be a situation that's perfect ever. It's not gonna happen. So what that's designed for you to do is not to move. You're not gonna make a move, and that's on purpose. So the thing about it is that the hardest part about any goal is to start. Don't worry about if it's perfection. That will come with time. You got to start something though, right? And whether it be business, whether it be, college, whether it be a trade school, whether go, electrician, anytime longshoreman, whatever the case may be, you got to start somewhere. And you got to realize that the first time you may take a test, the first time you may do a weld, first time you do, just like driving, your first time sucked. We making wide ass turns and overly slamming on our brakes, right? The first time that we drew something, the first time we did a job, the first time we approached a female, male, whatever the case may be, you wasn't smooth. That takes time. That takes time and observation, right? So if you don't have the experience, you at least need to observe people. And one of the things that I recommend too is let's look that up. Look up what people's first was, right? And 9 times out of 10, My son had to tell me that. He was watching the Jerry Rice story. He's like, "Dad, you should have saw his first game. He was trash. He dropped everything." I'm like, "Jerry Rice." He like, "Jerry Rice, that trash." Came out the gate, he was not good. He was dropping all kind of balls. And I'm like, there's comfort in that, right? There's a lot of comfort in that. There's comfort in I'm not alone, because a lot of times we think we're alone, that we're the only ones who came out the gate and did it half-assed. We're the only ones who came out and didn't have XYZ. We're the only ones that came out the gate and didn't have the full support or the full budget or this and that, or a sign was halfway done. And you think about Amazon. Jeff Bezos was delivering the books himself. And I'm sure he got that inspiration because Seattle has been known for messenger delivery. They were the hub of it. That's why FedEx was up. I mean, I think FedEx was up. No, they started in Memphis or something like that. But there was a couple of UPS started up there, right? And that's kind of when you think about how these people started, that's not how they're gonna finish. That's the beauty in life, is how you start is has nothing to do with how you're gonna finish. They it was interviewing Joe Buck, the guy who does baseball. He's an announcer on all these different things, and they were talking about all the different jobs he's had. You're an accumulation of all your experiences, so don't be afraid to start and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's the one thing, you know what I'm saying, that I think a lot of people are afraid of. They think mistakes are fatal, or that they're tattoos that say failure. I'm a failure. No, you got to get out there and wiggle. You got to get out there and try things. You got to get out there and experiment. But the one thing you have to realize is, do not compare your day one or your first to their polished, refined, um, experienced version. And that's what we do when we get discouraged, right? You listen to Jay-Z's raps. When he first started, they damn sure don't sound like the ones now. You listen to anybody's stuff when they first started, actors. When they first started, they showed Martin and Pam. I mean, not Martin, Pam from Martin and all that stuff. They started when they first started, nothing the way it is now. So I saw my son's first like commercial or auditions and stuff. Not to where he is now. Experience is everything, dog. That's the thing. Experience is everything. And most people saying, well, how do I get experience if I don't have any? Well, you got to put yourself in positions. Experience is out there. What you're willing to do for it is the question, right? So the experience is out there. So we do need to get started. We do need to be comfortable with making mistakes and being transparent. Hey man, I'm failing. Or hey man, this isn't working. You'll find that you have more in common with other folks that are also going through things, right? It's not a pity party, but just so you're not alone. Everybody started somewhere. And I tell people all the time, when my students, when we were talking about franchising, I said, you do realize all these franchises started off as one single operating business. Small mom and pop. Bass Pro Shop started off in a liquor store, in the back of a liquor store, selling lures and fishing line and hooks and shit in the back of a liquor store. And now look at them. Restaurants just got bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what I'm saying? Cheesecake Factory. Somebody started baking cheesecake. They started out here in California too, in Woodland Hills. Ladies started making cheesecakes. Then it got bigger and bigger. They started doing something else. And In-N-Out Burger, they first got started off in Baldwin Park. And the way that they got cracking is because they tapped into a lot of the drag racing that was going on in that area. So I look at the historical context of how everyone started. I don't look at where they are. I'm like, okay, let me find your origin story. Even when I see cats on Instagram that are pop, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Sugar Booger. They got the Soul Food Kitchen and also the Snack Shack out here. I went through his entire Instagram to his original stuff. Let me see how you started. And I saw what the restaurant looked like, and it was more like a cafeteria style. I'm like, that's what I need right there. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to see you now. That doesn't do anything for me. You know what I'm saying? Because it I need to see what the possibilities are. Yeah, that does do something. Let me backtrack that. I need to see what the possibilities are. But at the same time, I don't need to fixate on what your current position is. I need to fixate on all the stages in between. Where did you start? What did you start with? How many was it? Da 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 da. What kind of mistakes did you make? Was this did it? And most people tell you none of my stuff looked like this, dog. When I first started, I only had this is the story that most was when we first started, we were only, I was only, we only had. This was it wasn't the same size. We was in a much smaller space, etc. etc. All these things, right? And nobody would tell you, man, we started off booming out the gate. Everything was nice and off the hook. Nah, no, no, no. That's not a sexy story, right? The sexy story is we didn't have anything. We barely start. We started out the garage. I got pictures of us. I know these stories. We got man fryers. There's grease all over the floor. I'm cleaning out the back. This is what we doing. This is part of our origin story, right? We've talked about origin stories in the past. This is part of our origin story of how we got started. And the origin stories give character to individuals, right? Show that there was highs and lows, and that we barely made it by the skin of our teeth. That's inspiring, right? Not that, oh man, well, it was easy, dog. All we did was that, 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 that. And a lot of us think that, right? We think that. Most of us are thinking that everything is just hunky dory and easy, and it's not. And that's okay. I share that part with people. I show people all the time. I show them how we started off in these small spaces, right? We started, it was me and mom. We had one fryer. We started off with one fryer, one loud ass fryer. Then we got two nice ones. And then when we went later in life, we may get the other one like KFC, right? And we'll talk about that. And I'll have evidence that show, hey man, look at our start. This is how we started. This is the pictures. I got pictures of when we started the hair. I love the starts, man, because that's the story is there. How did you guys make it? What did you do? What was the inspiration behind it? Those are the things. The origin story, the start, mine, theirs is everything, not the finish. The finish is subjective because the start has intention and everything in it. What were my intentions in that time? I wanted to create something dope, or I wanted to do X, Y, Z. I wanted to get my family out of poverty. I wanted to hook my moms up with a house. I wanted to give my moms a job. What was your intention for doing this? I wanted to make a bunch of money. Cool. But then you got to talk about how that is going to affect generations. I said all the time, man, I'm building my kids' businesses so that they have an option, not that they're going to pursue it, but so that they have an option of if they wanted to pursue it. Right? I already got it somewhat started. You can run with a whole nother direction. And that's no guarantee that they're going to pursue that. That's not an automatic. There may be a thing where they don't like that. I'm good. We don't want to do that. We straight. We want to do something else. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. But at the same time, no, it's okay. I got something started. And you never know what that's going to transpire to. Right? Because you don't know what your kids they might run with it. And then if you were to look back down on stuff and you see a man months like from heaven or something, man, look at my kids. They done took this shit. It's in hotels. We got chicken spots. The damn president's talking about it. All because my dad got started. My dad, my mom, my grandma said, fuck it. We getting ready to get this started and we going to leave it to y'all. Y'all run with it. Here it's built. Here's the foundation. Here's the building. Here's how it all works. Here you go. Don't sell shit, and damn sure don't sell the houses. That's how I'm talking to my kids now, homie. Ain't nothing else. Showing pride in who they are and understanding, hey, man, we have a business. We ain't got to ask nobody for shit. We pay taxes. So this is the deal. You have this option or you can move another direction. Either one is fine. But you're either going to continue this or you're going to go start something. But what we're not going to do is be in the business of asking for handouts. And handouts from, hey, man, I need it. No. It's in my best interest to go work for this company to learn this so that I can go do X, Y, Z. That's what we on right now, killer. Period. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't agree, that's fine. That's fine. But that's what I'm on. And I'm like, start something. Period. I don't care what it is. And you can start legacies by just initiating the move, whether it be learning how to play an instrument, it could be learning how to open a business, it could be going to school to pursue your PhD and telling your kids that PhDs are possible in our family. So you can get one too. And let me show you the recipe and the blueprint for that too. Or it could be singing, right? Whatever the case may be. Dare go start something. Go get a little speaker, get a little beat machine, practice, start to sing it, write you a song. You know what I'm saying? Start there. Your first song is going might not be it ain't gonna be a Grammy winner, but your 15th, 16th, your 120th might be. You know what I'm saying? But if you hadn't started that one and built from that point, you wouldn't be at that 120th. You see what I'm saying? You would have never got out the gate with it. So you got to start something. It's okay to be trash in the beginning. Everybody was. Nobody came out the gate fire. Let them tell it. But most people came out the gate trash or basic, a rookie, inexperienced, don't know shit. Like I always use my Melvin Bam Peoples quote, Mario's dad, right? We said, man, I'm so glad that nobody told me that I didn't know what I was doing. So I kept doing it until I figured it out. And that's beauty in that, right? Nobody should tell you, man, don't, that ain't how you start. You got to do, man, let me make my motherfucking mistakes, dog. This is part of me and who I'm becoming. Let me make my mistakes, homie. And my son sometimes has to check me on that. Dad, let me make my let me fuck up on my own. Let me get that. Because there's jewels and lessons and blessings all up in your mess ups, dog. That's not all that's the thing that people are trying to avoid. That's what the jewels are. Like make your mistakes. I tell like I made my mistakes in my 20s, the ones that the significant ones, right? Which is why I'm here today. I try not to make that many now. If I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be on a business move, and I'm ready to eat it. I'm so ready to eat it. It's not even where I'm trying to duck it. Like, you know what, man, I'm trying to avoid this. Man, I know God wouldn't take me through nothing that He didn't have any intention on turning out to be my good. I know for a fact that wouldn't happen. So I'm not worried about it anymore. It took a while for me to convince me, but I'm not worried about it anymore. God's instilled that grace inside of my and that confidence in me to know that if I start something, either He's going to shut it down before it gets to where it matters, He's going to make me pivot to something different, which is fine with me. I'm pivoting, or He's going to stop and give me exactly what I need. But there's no no's involved in that transaction with God. There's never any no's. Impossible. So, my friends, my followers, my folks, people listening from all over the world, your first ain't gonna be your last, but it's necessary. You have to do it. You have to you have to go out there and try to hit your first wave. When I was surfing, my first time going was horrendous. It was terrible. Couldn't catch a wave, had the wrong board. But how would I know that? What That's just like me saying, okay, so when it matters, like I'm gonna just go dump into a surf contest, 100 grand on the line, a easy one. But because I never started, I don't know how to do it. Now, had I started when the opportunity presents itself or when God presented that opportunity for me to start, I would be able to take that 100 grand with no problem. And other opportunities either present themselves or go find somebody else who isn't or who hasn't passed up their opportunity to start. Not you, though. You feel what I'm saying? You have to go through that process. So get started, homies. You know what I'm saying? Get the shit over with. The sting of embarrassment, the sting of failure, the sting of all of that comes with that. Get it over with, right? Flinch is what Seth Godin got a book called Flinch. Get the flinch over with. Man, let me take this. I know it's gonna be trash. I know I'm gonna suck. I know I'm not gonna be I remember my first lecture, I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. I didn't know how to lecture. I thought I did, but then when you have 30-something students looking at you like, dude, we already don't believe in you. You know what I'm saying? But I had to start. Now when I go in, totally control it. Agenda on the board. That's what we're gonna do. Start it with conversation, pull them in, lecture, video, activity, clockwork. It's what practice is. But you don't know how to practice unless you get started. So you got to get started, homies. You have to quit playing. The opportunities are presenting themselves. They're written on the wall, calling your name, tapping on your shoulder, itching. You're going to sleep on it. You're seeing commercials reminding that ass of it. But trust me, everybody started off garbage. Nobody started off gravy. Nobody started off the master that they are today. Go watch early movies of Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and Denzel, and when he was on St. Elsewhere, he had the big teeth. Like, you know what I'm saying? And look at him now. Smooth as ice, always been. They just needed to polish him and refine him. But he had to get started somewhere or no one would ever see him. That will conclude the weekly tap in for this week, homies. I really hope you enjoy it because I know I'm competing with other stuff. But for those who are watching on the replay, man, it is nothing but love. I promise you that. Those who are watching live, make sure you guys hit the subscription button and the notification so that you do not miss an episode. Share this with somebody that you think would be beneficial from this. If you haven't left us a physical review on iTunes, man, please do so, man. They help so much, man. You have no freaking clue how much they help. So tap back in on next Tuesday. I'll see y'all then. Oh, I'm looking for books. I'm back on Power again. So if you have any other book suggestions, some of you guys gave me those last time, keep them coming in the comments, homie, because we need them. Other homies need them. I'm tapping out.